Welcome to Time Illusion Media Podcast.
Today's date is 9/11/2017. This is my second podcast. Today's show is going to start with a simple question. What is time?
It has been said to be the fourth dimension of the physical realm and a measurement of progression and decay, or simply a concept to make sense of the world, to reverse construct matter and space. Without a reasonable equation to justify our origin or progress, there is no parameters to justify a view. Time has become the foundation to presuppose ideals that become utter nonsense without the fundamental requirements that permit a macro construct, or chaotic organization that we can call life and meaning. I'm going to break the mold for just a moment, to raise reasonable doubt about the presupposed foundation laid by the founders of the academic monopoly we call mainstream science. This flow of thought is outside of the mainstream. I'm going to address the paradoxical nature of our existence by briefly touching on the string theory. This is a concept that is reaching for an explanation of the Big Bang by attempting to justify the Big Bang now comes from something rather than nothing. It is a progressive theory that is evolving by adding a previously nonsensical concept of everything coming from nothing. So space, matter, gravity, and light or radiation appear to be the only tangible evidence to explain any kind of observable existence. Now dark matter becomes like a negative force that offsets the positive substance we can observe. So cosmology and physics has shifted from knowable evidence to whatever complements the macrocosmic view laid by mainstream science. To infer such unknowable theories is like having George Lucas come up with the next big concept. Like having the biggest imagination that can explain the unexplainable is now what drives the mainstream. Perhaps we need to start from scratch, like laying a new foundation. Not assuming that all the views in the mainstream are not possible. Just humor me for a moment. Let's reflect on the concept of time and briefly take it out of the equation, assuming that time was not a cosmic calculator. Time has become a fundamental view that has helped us measure the pattern of the solar system and shifting of the earth and seasons. Suppose it was possible for us to calculate an existence outside of the parameters of time. Seriously ponder the concept for a moment and think about eternity as if there were no concept of time. It's impossible if you were being true to observable science. Immediately when you think of eternity, your brain will naturally default to a starting point, like a linear dimensional understanding. What if a two-dimensional stick figure on the surface of a paper were to describe what it would look like for a three-dimensional finger to come into their two-dimensional understanding? The only concept that they would have is a two-dimensional description. They would see a dot that would turn into a circle. Their concept of a finger would not go beyond the second dimension. Now assuming there was a higher dimension of understanding that went beyond our dimension of understanding, how might we describe the higher existence? Einstein's theory of relativity suggests that time is not constant, and gravity could alter it. He even supposed that if space could be altered or bent, that the fabric of time could be altered in the process. That is assuming that time is a physical substance. Take time out of the theory of relativity, and all you have is space, matter, and the force of gravity. So perhaps time can explain the vastness of space and its pattern, but it may be limited due to its limiting dimension. It appears time can be altered if the forces at work were manipulated. Or can it? I would venture to say that there is a realm of existence or understanding that goes beyond our capacity, like the fifth dimension. What if there was a proverbial finger that was manipulating our existence from beyond our dimension of understanding? Wouldn't that kind of theory assume that we had a grasp on something beyond our capacity? Well, for me, it's easier to believe that there is a greater concept that we can call God that is much deeper and beyond our rational existence than to hold on to a theory that explains an infinite number of universes that are independent of one another. Science can't explain everything, not even anything outside of this universe. It is clear there's a lot of learning to do, but there's probably a point to where we cannot explain an existence that is beyond our very ability to comprehend. So we have the concept of time to explain our existence, for lack of something better. Decay will stop when the sun burns out, and the universe will go cold. We can only hope that the implications of what we believe can carry us through this existence and our inevitable demise. Perhaps this dark matter that science has quote-unquote discovered can explain what religion calls the spiritual realm. It seems undeniable that purpose stems from something beyond the physical world. A rock cannot boast, except for what it implies, that there is something bigger than this existence. I will presuppose that history and faith can tie the loose ends of this life. Not just any kind of faith, but the true faith. This can easily take us on a rabbit trail because the faith and time are two different concepts. Faith is another topic that we can get into later. To sum it all up, truth is the bridge that bonds us to the higher existence. You cannot believe a lie and hope to achieve the next level of our existence. It is fair to assume that truth can be absolute. I will not get into the philosophical debate that says there are no absolutes, for if that were the case, there would be no laws of physics and no way to measure and calculate. So that brings me to the next topic. What is truth? And is time, as we know it, the truth? Or is it an illusion? That is the train of thought that got me started on the thought of time being an illusion. I'm not saying time doesn't work for our existence, but the concept of intelligent creator transcending time can work if our presuppositions of time were not blinding us from the existence of God. History has made it clear that there has been people that have experienced things that are otherwise considered supernatural. Is that proof for the existence of the God of the Bible? I would say yes, but others may look at other truths or pseudo-truths for their answers. I believe that the world is full of anomalies that cannot be explained by science, but also cannot be ruled out due to our inability to explain it, aka the supernatural. If there is only one truth, then there cannot be another pseudo-truth to explain our existence or time. They will contradict one another. You must embrace what is real or true. There are implications to what you know or what you don't know. For me, it is vital to pursue and rule out. There is no purpose to life if you are stuck in a lie. Like I say, you may believe in a pseudo-truth. My goal in this message is for you to briefly absorb something that is above your normal state of mind. Think outside of the box. My worldview says that there is a God, and He created this existence. Perhaps there was always something bigger and more exceptional than we can comprehend in this state. So the way the Bible will put it is, God is the proverbial finger that has manipulated our existence and can transcend all of time. He can see the beginning like He can see the end. Time is a figment of our imagination. It doesn't exist as an obstacle to God. You might say that this is simply my opinion, but the Bible boasts many prophetic fulfillments. The degree of accuracy is not luck. Our Creator has communicated with a group of people to forward to the world. There are 66 letters and books written in the Bible, and 40 authors in 3 languages. Most of these people were not directly related, so to assume the accuracy of the Bible would have come together with that measure of accuracy is impossible. To conclude, I know that this is a simple philosophy that will ultimately sink or swim, so to speak. It will depend on your background or bias. I simply contend that there is something bigger than we can comprehend, and is bigger than the concept of time. So time is not an illusion in this existence, but if God can breach the laws of physics and own all dimensional realities, then time is a minute factor that is irrelevant in the grand scheme. My depth is God's simplicity, and I use that to convey what I think may best describe God. Sure, God can reveal himself to you and alter the suffering and evil. Like I say, God is bigger than we can understand. So I will leave it at that for now. I will have to show you some proofs on the next podcast, and you will see what the big hype is. Thanks again for listening, and have a great night.